is Sunday. It's late in the evening. Didn't really do a whole lot of Christmas stuff today. Well, I'll take it back. I did spend quite a bit of time this afternoon, evening, getting the materials I needed and putting together half of this RGB arch that's going to go over the door and over one of the windows. So I haven't recorded anything yet, and I've gotten halfway through. So I did that for a couple of reasons. Number one, I was working in an area where I couldn't make a video because I had kids running around and noisy and stuff like that. And number two, I wasn't sure. I wanted to make sure I knew exactly what I was doing before I started putting together a video, because I wouldn't want to waste my time and have to remake the video. So have a good idea of what's going on. Let me show you the supply list. This is actually a fairly reasonably affordable project. Luckily, Tom, buddy of mine, does it on the Christmas show. He had some extra parts to let me borrow for this season. This way I can get a good idea and test it out. What we're dealing with, what we're working with is, let me actually flip the camera around and I'll show you what our supply list is that we're working with. Alright, what we've got in this box, now this housing I actually had, so it didn't cost me anything, but you can grab one of these housings from Home Depot or online. I'm going to fasten these boards in this box so they don't move around. But I've got 3 6-channel RGB DMX controller boards. Alright, these boards on Amazon cost about $16 each. Again, these are three boards Tom's letting me borrow for the year, just so I can play around with it since he's not using them. As you can see here, you have a hardwired DMX in and out. You have your dip switch controlled, and then up here you've got our blue, green, red, and your neutral. Blue, green, red, and your neutral, and then your power in. Okay. Now what I'm using to power or to feed my RGB, my power to my strips is just a Cat 5 cable. If you don't know, Cat 5 is 4 pairs. So I'm actually using 1 cable to feed 2 channels. I've marked it channel 1 and 2. And to try to make it as easy as possible, B, you have the blue, G, green, R, supposed to be for red, I put the orange, and then my voltage, my positive is my brown, all right? And that's the solid for channel 1 and the stripe for channel 2. Okay, and I've done the same thing. These are basically the RGB hookups are exactly the same. Okay, now the DMX, all right, what I've just done is I've just daisy chained them. So I'm going to be taking my XLR cable, cutting it, going from the DMX, normal DMX 3-pin port to 3-wire in, and then I've got some, this is just Cat 5 cable really, taking the D+, D-, and G, and I'm going from board to board and daisy chaining it to the 3 boards, and then I'll be coming out DMX here and controlling another light, another DMX controlled light. Alright, so this wire that's coming in is my power, coming from my power supply. This is just a little bit of a heavier gauge, but we're still only running 12 volts, alright, to power these boards. So this is working just fine. This cable here I got from work. It's an extra piece of buried service cable for AT&T. And it's a 5-pair cable. Alright, so I've got the blue pair powering 1, orange pair powering the 2nd one, and green pair powering the 3rd one. It doesn't matter honestly what color the wire is, it's just copper inside, solid copper. So these 3 boards are hooked up. So that basically all I got to do now is just fasten these so they're not loose. And I'll be mounting this outside. Alright, now the boards, like I said, are $16 each on Amazon. What we're powering these boards with, what we're running or controlling, is these LED light strips. I bought this on Amazon for $12. Show you a piece of it. Alright, this is, they call it waterproof. I would more classify it as water resistant RGB strips. They are cuttable about every 2 inches. You can see the cut line. Okay, and each node here it's an RGB node, so each, or pixel, or whatever you want to call it, so each one of these little lights have the red, the green, and the blue in each pixel. So this, in essence, can change any color. All right, that's why you need all four. Now, to connect these, let me see if I can grab one of those connectors. All right, I'll be completely honest with you. I tried to I tried to connect end to end and make the things without using these connectors by just soldering the wires on. It is doable. It is extremely difficult though, and you can really waste a lot of time and screw up. So go ahead and invest in some of these clips. They have make a few different kinds. The ones we're using now has a little pigtail on it, and you can see it just has the track that the ribbon will slide over. I'll show you in a future clip exactly how this works. All right, and what you're supposed to do is just pull back the coating here with a razor blade to expose the actual ribbon part, and then this basically slides. Ouch! I just poked myself. This basically just slides in there and makes a connection, and this snaps down to hold it in place. All right. Let me show you the power supply that's powering the DMX boards. This power supply is about $16 on Amazon. It's just a 12-volt power supply. I don't know the actual rating. This is another thing that Tom actually is lending me for the year. And as you can see here, here's my wire that's serving the power supply for the controllers. So you got 3 spots for positive, 3 spots for negative, and this is our incoming power. You got our neutral, our positive, and negative, and that just plugs in to the wall. And very affordable. You don't have to use all 3. I have a feeling that you might even be able to daisy chain, depending on there's a rating. I can't quote on how much. I think it's 300 watt max if I'm not mistaken. So depending on how many lights you're running and what you're running off of this, you might have to get a power inserter or something of that nature. Right now with what I'm doing, this will be plenty. I don't need any more than this. Okay, now in my setup, I'm using 1-foot pieces of strip to make 6 channels, because I do have 6 channels to work with. Alright, so I've used my Cat 5. I've actually used the factory end on this end, and then beanied or use these Scotch 3M connectors to beanie the appropriate cables to the appropriate wires. Okay, and this one set, again, I stripped the cable back here, took my solid cables to feed this first section, and then the ones with the white stripe are going down and feeding the next strip down there, and they're just beanied. Okay, and then I'll try to pull this out so I can show you. But I slipped, once I had all 6 together and zip tied to the lines as we go down, I got some white, this is Belge pump tube. It was about $8 for 6 feet of it, and we just slide the pipe in there. Alright, this is what it looks like when it's on right now. It's just on a randomizer mode, so it's just flashing different colors. All the wires and lights are inside the tube, obviously, and you can kind of see that the light is facing upwards, but in all honesty, it lights the tube up in all directions, right? Even though, I mean, you see a little bit of a shadowy spot here. That's because the wires, there's a lot of connectors right here. So I will be twisting, and when I actually install this, to make sure that it looks the best. Okay, so basically, now this is an old piece, I'm not using this. This is something that Tom gave me, but basically what we have is we have our power supply going into our controller, a Cat 5 cable coming to a connector here. Let's just call this channel 1. It's coming in, feeding channel 1. At the other end of this, I have another Cat 5 hooked up to this. It's got to run to my second arch because I have 6 channels, but I'm going to mirror them twice. So over one arch, going 1 through 6, and then over on the other side it's going to be 1 through 6 as well. Alright, so then I'm going to Cat 5 from here to the second arch. Alright, so basically I've got my first arch here. Channel 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, again, Cat 5 coming into the first channel, Cat 5 coming all the way out to the next first channel. Okay, which is going to be in the other arch. Channel 2, same thing. Channel 3, channel 4. Now keep in mind, one Cat 5 has enough to run 2 channels, so basically one Cat 5 is feeding the first 2 channels, and then I've got another Cat 5 coming out to feed the first 2 channels in the other arch. So right here on the other end, I actually have 3 Cat 5s. And what I'm going to do now is put the build the second arch. It shouldn't take me as long because I don't have to do both ends. I just have to do the one end because I'm not going to feed another arch or anything out in the back of it. So as long as I've made all my connections properly in here with no problems, all I should have to do is splice these cables into the more stripping of the LED strips, and I'll be done. And then the next step would be to mount it, but I'm not going to be mounting it tonight. So let's do it. Alright, so we've got them both work. I'm just pushing the last little bit through. It's pretty simple, really, but just color code it. Now, for some reason, I have a feeling I might have to adjust these a little bit more, but there was one controller that the green and the blue were opposite from each other. So hooking it up color coded, I found that the wrong color was coming on, which seems strange to me. But I made that adjustment in the box, so I can always adjust that in the box too if I need to. If I start programming and find the wrong colors are programming up, so we'll find out. I'm just pushing this back through, and it'll be pretty much good to go as soon as I get it all the light strips inside the tube, and then we'll get it installed probably either one night this week after work. If not, then definitely by Thursday. So I'm pretty excited for this to get it up so I can do some programming and everything. I'm beat, so I'm going to try to edit this video. I know it's probably not going to be much of a tutorial video, but hopefully if you watch this, you'll have a good idea of what you might need if you want to build something like this yourself. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and more videos to come.